Hello, my name is Aida Khan. Thank you for joining me on my quest for food. Before you embark on this journey, let me tell you a little bit of what to expect. In this show, we'll be traveling around Pakistan to some places you may have visited, some places you may have heard about, some places you may have always wanted to go to. However, the one common thread that runs through all these destinations is the fabulous food that you'll get to experience over here. You'll also discover that ingredients alone do not make a fabulous meal. The taste of the meal is enhanced by the people who make it, the place where it's found, and yes, the ingredients and sometimes even the company that is there. What better place to start this journey of ours in Pakistan other than Lahore? Lahore is known as the food capital of Pakistan for a reason. It's impossible to travel through the convoluted streets of this city without smelling something wafting through the air or being tempted by the peddlers on the street side to pick up something and to eat it. However, that is not always recommended due to hygienic purposes. In this episode, we're going to meet some people who make Lahore what it is and actually add to the culture of this city. They tell you a little about the food culture, and some people will teach you how to make the famous tawa chicken that is found here in Lahore. Before indulging in the food of the city, I wanted to explore through some of the hidden gems of the walled city of Lahore. While other areas of the city may offer better bargains, the old city offers an unrivaled history and complexity. The city and its bazaars are great to explore and easy to get lost in. Organized chaos creating a rich kaleidoscope of color. For a time, Lahore was the center of the Mughal Empire, and a number of its most beautiful monuments dating from this period can be found in and around the old city. Mughal history hangs around Lahore in the names of places, central routes and bazaars, and stunning structures in public spaces. The Purana Mohalla, or the Old Neighborhood, is where we find one of the most distinct examples of Lahori cuisine. Now we're going to learn how to make the Lahore's famous tawa chicken. We have the gorgeous backdrop of Lahore's Badshahi Masjid right behind us. And if you were to actually know exactly what we went to make sure the lights were on, you would understand our dedication to this show. Bear with me as the wind blows a little. It's monsoon season right now, and I'm just really grateful with an outdoor shoot that the rain isn't coming down, it's only the wind. So like I said, the only thing glamorous about this shoot right now is going to be the background right there. We're going to learn how to make the tawa chicken, Lahore's tawa chicken over here. The way the tawa chicken is made, you take semi-cooked chicken. This is breast piece or leg piece of chicken. Just grill it over coal with a little bit of salt added to it. And then we're going to cook it in this marinade that has been pre-made. It's yogurt with the basic spices of yogurt, garlic, ginger, salt, pepper, red chilies, cardamom, cinnamon, and a little bit of cloves as well. The most distinct taste, I've tried this, is of the cinnamon in this. And it's very strong. So very excited to see how it turns out. But I have Mr. Multani over here who's going to help me with it as well. So we're just going to pour a little bit of ghee and add, I'm a fan of the white meat, so here goes. तो इसका क्या हिस्सा पहले निकालते हैं? इसका विंग निकाल देते हैं ना, ब्रेस्ट?
इसको ऐसे निकालते बनता है, निकाल के इसको टक लगाना पड़ता है। ये देखें।
A very sort of important part of cuisine in this part of the country is the desi ghee. A lot of people take pride in the desi ghee, and even though for the calorie conscious, the desi ghee is not the greatest option, they tend to over here take pride in the fact that food is made in desi ghee. Now we just add a little bit of the marinade. The fact is that you don't leave this in marinade yet. Generally, when you're making chicken or chicken tikka, you leave the marinade on for a while and allow it to marinate. so it absorbs all the flavors. The tawa chicken, you add the marinade while you're cooking, which is why you need the incisions on it. I've also seen a version of this made with just boneless chicken, so without the bone, which actually helps cook it much faster as well. But our technique for you making it quickly right now is to just add incisions to it to ensure that the marinade goes in it really well as the fact that it cooks really quickly. So while this cooks, I'm going to chop some chilies to go with it. The chili is not used as a garnish, it's actually used as something that that we add to it to add to the flavor. The chili is meant to be roughly chopped, not too finely chopped, so that you get chunks of it while you are eating the chicken. My least favorite part, slicing the lemon. Used to just cutting lemons in half, but for this recipe, we need to slice it really finely so that we can throw it in with the chicken. Now usually when adding lemon to any recipe, I make sure that I get rid of the skin because it gets to be a little bitter. But in this chicken, because of the yogurt, the sweetness of the yogurt, and because of the intensity of the spices, the lemon ends up adding to the flavor, and so does the bitter skin. I don't really have the skills to do this correctly, but I'm trying. ये इसके लिए हिम्मत बहुत चाहिए, बहुत जान चाहिए होती है, जो मुझसे हो नहीं रहा है. If you were to try this at home, I would just suggest chopping it up earlier on. Wow, I can actually smell the steam and the flavors coming out of this chicken. And just like in the marinade, the cinnamon was the strongest flavor. Same thing over here as well. While it's steaming up, the cinnamon is the strongest flavor that I can kind of get. आप लोग जो है यहाँ, आप लोग ये दोपहर में खाते हैं, रात में खाते हैं, किस टाइम पे खाई जाती है?
ये ज़्यादा तो शाम के वक्त, रात के वक्त. रात के वक्त.
और किस चीज़ के साथ खाई जाती है?
ये नान, रोटी, पराठे, जिसके साथ मर्जी आए खाएं.
चलें, अब ये तैयार हो गई है. So I can actually smell all the flavors coming together really well in this, and it's a very basic recipe. I'm very, very excited about the fact that I got to see tawa chicken being made, because I used to come to Lahore just to have the tawa chicken. I think it's easily replicatable in your kitchens, but don't fret if it doesn't taste as great, because like I said, something about this city just makes the food taste so much better.
We're going to take a bit of a break from recipes for now and explore the origins of Lahori food. One of the best places to gain insight into the culture that this food comes from is the Lahore Fort. Built, damaged, demolished, rebuilt and restored several times, such is the history of the Lahore Fort or Shahi Qila. Within this daunting structure lies plenty of insight into Lahore's love of food.
The origins of the Lahore Fort can be traced back to as early as 1025 AD. This was discovered during an excavation that took place on this site in the early 1950s. A gold coin was discovered that dated back to Mahmud Ghazni's time. It wasn't until the 1500s, when Emperor Akbar took over, that he built this structure from a mud fort and made it into the grand building that it is today. Whereas Akbar used this space as a fort, it was Shah Jahan who made this place into a pleasure quarter for himself, adding the mosques over here and his bed chambers and building upon the artistic nature of this place. So as I stand here in the Shahi kitchen of the Lahore Fort, it's quite a humbling experience. The structure is really huge. You'll get to see it when I'm walking around, and the ventilation is has been designed to ensure that the heat does not get trapped in here. And it just gives me a sense of sort of intrigue, thinking what kind of meals were made over here and where the traditional food started from. I'm actually standing right here where Lahore gets its entire food heritage from. So it's very inspiring to be in this space where meals fit for a king have been prepared for centuries. The finest ingredients have come into this very spot in an attempt to make a meal that would impress the king of the time. One can only imagine the different foods that must have been prepared over here in an attempt to make sure the king is pleased. This place also gives one a better understanding of how Lahore has come to inherit the food culture that it has today.
Having studied Mughal history as a child, I realized that seeing really is believing. The history books, which at one time bored me to tears, seemed to come alive and make sense the moment I stepped into the fort. In 1981, the Lahore Fort was inscribed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. What serves as the main entrance today, the Alamgiri Gate, was originally built by Aurangzeb in 1674 as a private entrance to the royal quarters. The gate is large enough to allow several elephants carrying family members into the royal household. Walking through the Diwan-e-Aam, where emperors daily greeted their public, I said a silent thank you to Shah Jahan for building a relief from Lahore's sweltering heat for his people in the form of 40 pillars and a roof. During Akbar's time, his subjects had to simply bear the heat as they crowded under a canvas awning. A grand structure to receive private guests was built by Shah Jahan called the Diwan-e-Khas, which is right behind the Diwan-e-Aam balcony. History knows Shah Jahan as one of the greatest romantics of all time. The Taj Mahal serves as a testament to this. It comes as no surprise then to see so many structures within this fort created strictly for the use of his wife and her court. Clearly not all Mughal men were philanderers. Shah Jahan's thoughtfulness is seen in the construction of the Moti Masjid or the Pearl Mosque, created solely for women of the royal household. The Sheesh Mahal was also constructed by Shah Jahan for his empress and installed with screens to conceal the ladies from prying eyes. Adorned with complex mirrorwork, one can see the influence these designs have even on modern-day jewelry and embellishments. The hall was originally decorated with fresco paintings, which were replaced with glass mosaic in different colors.
And to the west of the Grand Sheesh Mahal, I now stand in the Naulakha Pavilion, which is this beautiful marble structure encrusted with semi-precious and precious gems that Shah Jahan had built as a summer home. And the name Naulakha comes from the fact that this structure cost Shah Jahan about 900,000 rupees or 9 lakh rupees, thus also adding the word Naulakha to the Urdu vocabulary to signify something precious. It's an undeniable fact that Lahore is definitely a city with a really rich history and cultural heritage. But join me now as we go and meet some people who've built upon this heritage and added to the food culture of this city.
Despite the rich architectural history of Lahore, it's essentially the people who make Lahore the city it is today. While I was here, I decided to meet one of its noteworthy citizens, Mia Yusuf Salahuddin, who served as a kind of cultural ambassador for this great city.
I get a lot of people who come from the West or from the Far East or from India who come and stay with me, and they are very fascinated by the old city, by these little gullies and those bazaars, and like the copper market or the gold market or the silver market or the achar bazaar, where you just have this whole gully which is just packed with fresh made achar. And I think it's very vibrant and it's very alive, and it's unlike other places. The old city, people like to sit out in the gullies, out on benches, on tea stalls, drinking tea all night, eating food. So and the food never stops. Around my house, I can get, if you have 50 people coming into my house at 5 in the morning, I can get food for you in 5 minutes. So it's 24/7 that these restaurants are open. The old city people love good food. And that is not, something which is, which is today, but even pre-partition, Lahore was always known for its food. Of course, amongst the communities, the Kashmiri community, which basically moved into Lahore during the turn of the century. There was a famine in Kashmir, and about 5,000-6,000 Kashmiri families moved to Lahore, and with them they bought their food. Then when a lot of people who migrated on partition from Amritsar and East Punjab, they bought their own taste. The Mughals, of course, they had a very elaborate dastarkhan, and I'm sure it must have left some impact, because in Akbar's time, for almost 8 years, the capital of the Mughal Empire was Lahore. One of the poorest Mughal emperors was Bahadur Shah Zafar, and I was once reading a book on Bahadur Shah Zafar and his daily sort of activities. Menu for his, one of his meals was unbelievable. I mean, like it was something like 20 different kinds of rice and pulao. Like they would have titar ka pulao, and bater ka pulao, and gosht ka pulao, and machli ka pulao, and it goes on and on. Tales of food and how many, there was a tale of this guy who lived in my mohalla, that who could eat so much, that he actually had, a whole lamb or something, and he died after that because he had problems. So the people love to eat. The old city, no restaurant can actually, can work if they don't make good food. So, it's by and large, if you want, like traditional Pakistani khana, I would suggest name that restaurant, which is very old. It's been there for quite a long time, Nemat Kada, outside Lohari Gate, which would serve you all kinds of curries and salans and, and the bhajis and everything. For Halwa Puri, there are a few places inside Lohari Gate, inside Taksali Gate, where they still make the traditional Halwa Puri with desi ghee. You do find, I think, next to Phajapaya is a place called Arif Hotel. Arif Hotel makes the best kadai that you probably ever had, and they still make it with, like you still get like desi chicken, and they cook it with homemade butter. The kadai, so it's quite unbelievable. And of course, Cuckoo's Cafe and all these places. Tawa chicken is because all my friends, a lot of them want to have tawa chicken. Although the guy, the original Baba who used to make tawa chicken, has died, and he has taken sadly that taste of tawa chicken. It was very different, because I think the masala that he used, nowadays they put a lot of green chilies and it's very, very spicy. His, the way he used to make it was, there wasn't that much masala in it, but the taste was unbelievable. They don't have that taste. So I think basically what we've lost out on our traditional food is one is the desi ghee, okay? And then it is the desi chicken, is the homemade masalas. And of course, you are a guest in the old city in somebody's house, they will still, even if they still don't, it's too expensive to use the desi ghee and stuff. But for you as a guest, they will still prefer to use that. And that is what makes all the difference.
So now as I wrap up the first episode, I keep telling my producers that by the end of this season, I'm not going to be able to fit into just one frame, as I have to keep eating everything that I make. But as long as the food keeps coming, I'm not complaining. I think I found myself the perfect job. So as I enjoy this chicken, I'll let you be. I'll catch you next time in some other fabulous destination in Pakistan.
This program was brought to you by